Oh, hey, what's up, guys? These anime egotists here with another edition of Bias Roundtable, where the conversations are made up and your opinions don't matter.
Uh,
You, you got me, Foster, and I'm joined by my co-host. Say hello, co-host.
Williamson.
That's
How's it
right.
going?
And we are joined by Jogger Joe. Just say hi.
hey y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all are gonna get tired of seeing me eventually. Until then, I'm back.
I said that to myself the day we started hanging out. But regardless, we are here.
And we're still here. So
We are here. He is Jogger Joe. We are the anime egotists. Got to cover myself up, boys. We're in quarantine.
oh well, then in that case, hold on.
Wait, we're inside, so I can take this off, right?
I guess I don't know.
Okay, good. I can't talk in that the whole time. But anyways, we are here. We are the anime egotist, and we are here to talk about Pokemon, which is you really should be used to it at this point. Like half of our videos are Pokemon by this point. We should have called ourselves the Poke-tuber egotists, but that name,
right.
I'm pretty sure that name was taken by some channel that we don't know. But regardless, the past couple of weeks of Pokemon have been kind of interesting. We've gotten new DLC stuff. We got a Pokemon Snap announcement, which good for everybody else. It's not.
I want the Sinnoh remake.
Yeah,
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting to that, and also just yes, we got Pokemon Smile, which is for brushing your teeth or something like that. Look, I've heard some stories of people say, "Hey, look, my kid has autism, so this makes it easy. This will make it easier for them to brush their teeth." And I'm like, that is wonderful. That
Right.
It's doing good for somebody. Like,
right.
Remember, here at the Anime Egotists, we don't care if you're gay, trans, bi, man, woman, black, white. It does that. None of that matters to any of us. We are an open space. But the second you start shipping Naruto and Sakura or something like that's where we take issue. That's where we're gonna have to talk about that.
Or the moment you start saying that the barbers actually did a good job in
Naruto. or if you say some stuff like Raku deserved to be with Chitoge. She didn't. They were terrible together. But whatever. Regardless, the one thing that got my ears perking is when they announced there was another announcement. Like, we got a pseudo Pokemon Direct, but afterwards they said we have another announcement coming next week, like this upcoming Wednesday, if you're depending on when you're watching this video. So that got us thinking, what could possibly be? First of all, I want to talk about what the announcement could be in you guys' eyes. Does anybody have any ideas?
If it's not the Pokemon Sinnoh remake, I'm just gonna cry. I feel like they're purposefully ignoring giving us that one specific, like, they've remade pretty much every other game leading up to, but it's just like they refuse to give us the Sinnoh remake, and eventually they'll give it to us, but by then I'll probably be
dead. Yeah, I mean, if it's an actual big announcement, it's either Sinnoh remakes finally, or they're doing another set of Let's Go games, and they're going to release them because they're a secondary team. So,
which, if they do another Let's Go game, base it in Sinnoh. I understand that they're going to probably follow the region, so they'll probably go Johto next. But I'm like, come on, please. I just want to be able to walk around with my freaking Palkia and just be happy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. They announced a little while ago, that they brought back Mystery Dungeon. I'm like, that is awesome. And then I just start to think about the poor Gen 4 people who are just crying themselves over never getting a remake, because I feel bad for y'all. Like I love Gen 4. It's like my second favorite generation behind Generation 3. But jeez, like that just sucks. But that's the thing. I don't think it's a Let's Go game. I'm not saying Let's Go didn't do well in terms of sales and everything, because it obviously did. It's Pokemon. But I feel like a lot of people, kind of the problem is when Let's Go was announced, we were all expecting like the next generation of Pokemon games and all that, only for them to say, here are the Let's Go games. Oh, also we kind of have this other series of games, this new generation planned. You guys just have to wait a year or so for that. So I feel like they've learned their lesson by this time. Don't say, big announcement, let's go. Because Let's Go wasn't bad, but it didn't sit well with a lot of people.
Why do I feel like if they are gonna announce the next one, it's not even gonna be 2 games. It's literally just gonna be one. It's gonna be called Let's Go Johto, and that's gonna be it. And it's literally just gonna be the one game. And you can choose which legendary to get, but it's just gonna be the one game.
Well, I guess my thing for Let's Go is, what would the starters be? Would it just be Pikachu and Eevee again, or what's the deal?
I would hope if they did do Let's Go Johto, they would actually allow us to use the starters for Johto. I'm over hyper speculating because I'm a very critical person when it comes to Pokemon, and I want everything to be like it was in my childhood all over again. Right?
And then you go back and look at it and you realize some of the stuff in your childhood wasn't all that great. Some of the improvements that they've made actually kind of help.
Yeah.
It's like Power Rangers all over again.
Yeah. Anyways, Williamson, do you think it's going to be a Let's Go game? Because you seem to be different from the rest of us.
I really don't know what to think. It could be Let's Go games, mainly because I'm pretty sure that's a separate team from the people who make the main series and the remake games. But it could be that they have another team working on the Gen 4 remakes. You just never know with Pokemon, because we've been surprised before by when they announce stuff. I mean, they've rushed some stuff, it seems like.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be a Pokemon Rangers game.
You know, I really thought about that after you were like, oh yeah, they announced the mystery dungeon. And I was like, oh, well, we could probably get another Rangers game. Like the DS one, I was on the fence about it. I liked it, but
I loved it. Honestly, the Pokemon Ranger game, it's funny how the mystery dungeon and Pokemon Ranger games are the side series, yet they're somehow harder than the actual mainline series of games. That is weird.
Oh, yeah, it's because then when it's the Pokemon Ranger and Mystery Dungeon, it's not, oh, I am a trainer. Let me take these Pokemon, train them, and follow this specific one story that if I don't do it exactly how they say, it's just not going to be right. No, it's like, oh, okay, we have way more freedom. We can actually like flesh out the character development, and we can like give way more detail to the story and their freaking leveling system.
Yeah, but I feel like we've stalled for long enough. Let's get into the meat of what we really want. I feel like, would you guys be at all surprised if they were announcing a new Pokemon game, like still technically Generation 8, but you know, a new game?
I would be a little bit, just because of the fact that they have the DLC that just dropped, and then they even have the Tundra. I can't think of the Crown Tundra. I think
that's in like October, November. I don't remember.
Yep. And so I would be surprised if they did announce a new game on the heels of the fact that the 2 DLC just dropped by the time people see this, like last week. But like I think that would be almost too rushed and almost kind of like they're shoehorning in.
True, but they don't have to release it right away. It could just be, hey, this is what it is. It'll take about 20 years to come out, but we're working on it.
Oh,
well, knowing Pokemon and what they've done recently, I think a worst case scenario for the announcement that they make on Wednesday would be a virtual console re-release again, probably of Gen 1, 2, and 3 now, of the original games.
I was about to say, because that's a case of, you could have just told us that on that day. You could have just thrown that in there.
Right.
Oh, but it's a big thing.
But I don't want to go
They're coming
back
to Switch.
But guys, we're getting what we really want to talk about. So I'm almost ashamed to bring this up, but a lot of people have their own ideas of what they want for the perfect Pokemon game. Some people want it to be harder. Some people want it to be more open, that sort of thing. And if you've been around long enough, not sure why you have been, and not sure why you haven't spoken up, but otherwise, thanks for the learn. But we've done a video similar to this in terms of what we want for a perfect Pokemon game. Y'all, it's hard to go back. It's hard. I go back and rewatch our video so many times, I can't go back and watch that video anymore. It's straight up cheap. It's straight
Let
up
me eat Pokemon meat.
It's straight up cheeks. First of all, we have. It's the first. In all seriousness, it was the first time we had done a video like this. Nowadays, I feel like we're more comfortable. We know when to talk over each other, when not to. We know how to control this sort of thing. Second of all, we've had a lot more. We've played through Sword/Shield. We've seen some of our minds have changed on some stuff, so we want to make sure we have a different sense of some of our opinions have changed, and we want to address that. And third, it's so much easier to do with just 3 people here rather than 5.
And of course, having people who aren't exactly big Pokemon fans.
Exactly.
That is really true.
Exactly. So, the perfect Pokemon game. Let's get into it. What do we want? Let's say Game Freak comes up to us like, hey, we need a perfect Pokemon game. What do you want? What do you want for it?
I have 2 options.
Oh no.
The second one we'll get
no
into.
Guns. No guns.
No gun. Okay, like I said, the second one we'll get into a little bit later because I feel like it'll relate to something somebody else said. But the first one, what I want is I want to be able to play through a game, meaning any of the past games that we've had. Let me be the villain. Let me start off as a grunt and work my way up to the freaking person, like to the top person of the Team Rocket, freaking Team Galactic. I am blanking on the villain teams right now, and I feel so terrible.
Those are the important ones besides Team Skull.
There we go. Thank you. Let me work my way up to the rank until I am the freaking leader of the villain team, and then let me play the game as the villain. And I don't just mean like, oh, I start off with the villain and I stop the protagonist of the game. Like, no, I stop the protagonist, but then I do everything the protagonist is going to do. I get the legendary. I face off against the Elite Four. I beat the freaking champion. Let me do that, and then let me rule whatever region I'm in as the villain. That would be freaking great. Let me do what Giovanni could not do.
So kind of like the Pokemon Fire Red Rocket Edition mod that someone made that lets you play as a grunt. You get like a Pidgey to start, and then you can catch Pokemon if you want, but you can get the majority of your stronger Pokemon through stealing them from children, then women, and old people, then women, then men. And you just steal their best Pokemon.
You know, I thought we were going to start off small. But y'all had to come in here and just nah.
Ain't no starting off small. Ain't no starting off small. I'm about to run up on freaking Bug Collector Joey in the forest and smack him for his freaking Caterpie. Forget all that. Okay. Forget starting off small. I'm still in Pokemon day 1. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Pokemon's one of those games where I don't care. I wouldn't care to be a villain per se, because I guess my problem is a lot when you guys say Team Rocket, basically Team Rocket. My problem is, with the exception of Jesse, James, Cassidy, and Biff, or whatever his name is. The problem with them, what I love about them is each of them is likable in a sense. Mm-hmm. They're funny. They have great backstories. They all work well together. A boring hero is one thing, because some people say that it gets kind of weird how, though during a Pokemon game, like a disaster could be happening, and your character's just like,
that's terrible.
Just smiling. Yeah. So to me, a boring hero is one thing, but a boring villain is almost worse. So I guess in my kind of leading into it, I would kind of like a case of this is a little bit of a small option, but just more dialogue options rather than just yes, no, okay, ...
And actually let those conversations branch off into other branching conversations. That would be really awesome. And piggybacking off of that, I would love voice actors, and I know that would make development so much longer, and it would cost a lot more. But I think that having voice actors would literally give it a new depth to the game.
Yeah, because we have Pikachu and Eevee. They both have voices, so it's not, to me, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility to have at least other Pokemon having voices and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think that when it comes to voice acting, adding that depth, it really, at this point, makes sense because of how far the technology... It was understandable when the games first came out in the first few generations. The system wasn't there that could handle voices constantly, but now we're, 5 generations newer in Pokemon games?
Yeah. And in the sense, I don't even need everybody to be voice acted. Like for example, it can be your mom, your rival, the professor, maybe the head of the evil team you're fighting, maybe the gym leaders. Like, we don't need nameless. We don't need NPC number 45 to have the voice of Big E or something like that. But it's just
champion.
No, that's the thing. It's just Big E in the game, and he's just gyrating at you while eating a turkey leg.
I don't care what you say. That would be fantastic.
Great.
You know what? Game Freak, make that happen. Give us Big E in the game. Every Pokemon Center you go into, he's just in there gyrating with a turkey leg. No, a Tauros leg.
Oh,
he's just.
Now, getting to that though, one of the things I just heads up, everybody, I'm gonna say something I liked about Sword and Shield.
Ooh.
I loved Pokemon Camp.
Oh yeah.
I thought Pokemon Camp was a nice addition, but the one thing that did kind of weird me out is you're just feeding your Pokemon 150 something different types of curry, which to me is, I don't know. To me, it's a little weird. Here, I would sacrifice maybe a couple of those curry options to have different types of food. Like, for example, maybe not even food. Like, for example, let's say your Pokemon, like, we can add a mechanic. Your Pokemon gets sick, and maybe you have some berries, some ointments, and you can make that a certain type of medicine and give that to your Pokemon if you're too far from a Pokemon Center or something along those lines.
That would be cool. I definitely will admit that when I first saw the option for the Pokemon Camp, I was like, Pokemon Camp? I couldn't imagine wanting to go to a Pokemon Camp. I just want to battle and make my Pokemon stronger. Then I actually, I had some downtime where I wasn't really, trying to beat the story, where I was just kind of, chilling around, just catching fun for different Pokemon. And I was like, let me stop at the Pokemon Camp and see what the hype is about. Because by that point, I had already seen people who had beaten the game, and they were like, oh my god, I love the Pokemon Camp. I can play with my Pokemon. I can make all these different types of carry. And,
I do
trust
not
me,
sound
there were
like
people.
that.
Trust me, there were people who they had already, I think it was probably a month, 2 months in, they had already gotten all the different curry options. And I was just like, yo, that's a lot. But I will admit, it was a good thing. But I definitely agree with you that we should have that. We should have that option to do different things more than just
like medicines, soups, jelly donuts, that sort of thing.
Oh my god.
I mean, with my opinion about it, it's, when I first saw it, I was thinking, oh, cool, we're going to be able to make different Pokemon foods, actual, kind of what they used to show Brock making for all the Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's
like sandwiches and stuff like that.
No. I meant the Pokemon kibble.
Oh, like the
stuff.
actual Pokemon pop. No. Okay, yeah, that's my bad. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I was thinking of that stuff. You get to make that, and based on which berries you put in and which meats and stuff you use, it gives you different effects, not just the healing and status recovery and maybe a little experience, but it gives you...
because it
it's
seems
kind of like they had already done
battle.
that in a game. I'm pretty sure they did that in Sinnoh, where you could make poppin' that could give extra effects like that.
Something like that. And just something along the lines, it seems kind of weird that no matter how, you could make some amazing curry and all of your Pokemon would enjoy it. In my opinion, there should be some Pokemon that just aren't that big into certain types of curry or certain types of food. If I give my Furret dragon type poppins, it should be what is this? What is this? It's how dare you insult me with this type of food? But
how dare you feed this to the son of a shepherd?
yes, but if I give it like normal types, that sort of thing, it could be more receptive to it. But I don't know. I feel like Pokemon Camp was a great first step, but it's one of those things where I don't want them getting rid of it. People always complain that certain stuff is awesome in Pokemon games, but that they always get rid of them the next several games. This is one of those things that they just need to keep working on because there's so much more they could do with it.
Okay, so the next thing I was thinking of though was what was it? Oh, Pokemon following you. They've brought that back on the Island of Armor. Now, have y'all gone through with a Pokemon following you? I'm thinking of some of them, just how weird they move in this game.
First of all, they're so much slower than all the other ones. Like you could go off for a while, sit on your bike for about 10 or 12 seconds. They'll finally catch up to you, and you're just waiting on them.
Yeah. I'm specifically talking about Inteleon. Have you seen the way it runs?
I have no. Please tell me. What does it do? What does it do?
It's like almost a Naruto run. It's like bent completely over, and its arms are behind it.
Yes. I don't get it. What's the problem with that? What's the issue with that?
It just looks hilarious. Let me see if I can find a video of it.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Actually, I'll try it on here.
Anyway. But just in regards to that, you just think it's weak because I saw somebody have a Wailord right next to them in the water, and it was big. And then I saw a Wailord in the wild area of the water, and it was about 50-ish feet tall. So that to me is kind of weird. How you just have your own mini little your own mini Wailord with you, but
man,
yeah, it's one of those things that I like Pokemon following you, but just I guess I'm used to some of the older style where they all kind of have a generic way, and while this makes more sense, some of the animations probably could have been done differently. But
I don't know. I guess my thing when it comes to my thing when it comes to Pokemon following you, even back when it was first introduced, part of me was wondering, what does this do? What does this do for me? It's just you talk to your Pokemon a couple of times. Maybe it gives you an item, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I feel like considering Pokemon is somewhat becoming more open world, or however you want to call it, I feel like they can do more. Like maybe your Pokemon goes off on its own and attacks another Pokemon, or maybe it tries to get berries for itself, something along those lines. And rather than just following you step by step every single time. I don't know.
That'd be kind of crazy though. You're just walking out in the wild, and all of a sudden your Pikachu darts off into the grass, and you're just like, what's happening? You gotta go over there. He's freaking attacking a wild Zigzagoon or some shit. And you're just like, wait a minute, why would you do this?
They kind of did that a little bit with the Let's Go games, because you could walk by certain bushes and your partner would run over to the bush and find an item. It might have been a berry, it might have been something else. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, and something along those lines would be cool, but just like hypothetically, like with Pokemon Camp, for example, if I have Pokemon Camp set up, I don't want it to be necessarily a case of everybody is stuck to this one tiny little space. It's like, for example, if I tell like one of my fighting Pokemon, hey, can you go get some water from that lake over there while we're all doing this? Like, maybe you could do something along those lines to help speed up the process of me making these Poffins that taste like dirt. I'm not like just more openness to it, and I think they're doing a good job with, in some cases, Let's Go, and with a lot of cases, Sword and Shield. But I guess one of those things when I first started playing Pokemon games, I always thought to myself, even if I'm not the biggest fan of the anime sometimes, an anime style of Pokemon games, just the way they do things, catch Pokemon, all that sort of things, to me, probably is what a lot of people are asking for. And based on what I've read on the internet, I'm not completely wrong.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be adding elements. They might be story things, they might be side missions that you do there's a like 1 in 5 chance you can Pokemon that you help rescue and take to a Pokemon Center that's a wild Pokemon will start following you around when you try to release it, and then
Seems
it'll
like. Go
instead
ahead.
of wanting, yeah, instead of going out on the wild, it's all of a sudden, oh well, do you want to come with me? And rather than battle, you just toss a Pokeball at it.
It seems like this is an idea that I mentioned in the last video.
That'd be awesome. It still would be awesome though.
Yeah.
Like I'd love it if a freaking Raulu just came up to me and was just like, "Hey, I saw you over there battling. You kind of cool. I'm coming with you."
Yeah, the real just starts talking to you like that.
Look, we got a freaking talking Meowth, okay? They gave Pikachu actual voice and words in a movie, okay? A Riolu talking to me wouldn't be too out of the wild.
Yeah, I guess so. And speaking of what's wild, because I said I was going to start doing this, we have 2 new subscribers, and we need to give them their proper shout out. Jason Hall and Gaming with Dezo, or Dezo, however you pronounce that. Hey, do you guys have anything you want to say to our new subscribers?
Hey, appreciate it. Y'all are always appreciated. And don't forget to leave a like under the video because we need that. That lets us know that y'all like what we're putting out.
Yeah, so if you don't say anything, we're just going to keep providing mediocrity, and we can't do it. And I'm fine with that, but yeah, your boys need that YouTube money that we ain't getting.
Right, demonetized every time.
Anyways, Williams, do you have anything you want to say to Jason Hall and Gaming with Dezo?
Thank you both for subscribing. This channel has come a really weird way. I mean, we started this with a random video that we decided to make in college, and now we're become more of a discussion thing.
Yeah,
hey,
and if you have, we're the anime Egotists. So if y'all want us to talk about other anime, just let us know. Let us know what you want to talk about. We're up for it. But getting back to it, I do like the idea of maybe you see a Pokemon that's hurt and you give it something to make it feel better, and it stops you and says, hey, and decides it wants to travel with you. Because I noticed in Pokemon Camp, if you spend enough time in Pokemon Camp, every now and then a random wild Pokemon will wander into it. And if you notice it, it will say it'll basically the game will basically tell you that it likes the environment and your team and everything. You can decide, hey, you should come with us. And I think that's cool, but it happens so infrequently, it's kind of, you really have to look out for it. And I'm not saying it needs to happen every single time you step outside, but just a little bit of variety.
Right, I feel that.
I mean, that's actually interesting to hear, because I've played the games a lot, and I haven't even heard anything about them.
Oh, it happens so rare. I don't know the percentage, but it's just, I don't know. Like hypothetically, we see in Pokemon Sword and Shield that sometimes there are Pokemon that run up on you and try to beat you and basically try to attack you.
They come in with the fish. They be like, what's good? What's good?
Here I come to kick your ass.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, other Pokemon run away from you, and that's fine. While others just sort of, they will like growl at you or roar at you, whatever they decide to do, and just stand in front of you. And I'm thinking the whole time, it'd be a lot cooler if I could convince them to come with me somehow, rather than just this happy little Rockruff smiling at me. Now I'm going to beat you up and enslave and catch you. Like, that's weird. To me, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
And hypothetically, maybe I do catch a Pokemon that tried to brutally attack me. Maybe when I catch it, its friendship stat is super low because it didn't want to get captured. But after spending a lot of time with it, it finally grows to the point where it grows used to me.
Right, like that would be an interesting mechanic that I actually would really like. So outside of the, now that you have these gym badges or you have these medals, now they'll start listening to you. But like, even if you have the required gym badges, let's say that your friendship incredibly low, and it just decides to pull a Charizard, and it's just like, man, I ain't about to listen to you. Get out my face. Like, because it has no respect for you.
It actually shows an animation where the Charizard just lights you on fire.
That would be both interesting and scary.
It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect like trainer health or anything. It's just like like it just turns you into soot for a brief minute, and then you're fine.
And then you try to ask it to do flamethrower again, and it just goes to sleep.
I'm kind of thinking the best way to describe that stuff would be the stereotypical like animations you'd see at a bowling alley. It's just random stuff that happens based on the Pokemon reacting. It just cuts to thing.
Oh God,
that'd be hilarious. It's just like Trump flipped you off.
Well, it could also be one of those things just in regards to catching Pokemon and that sort of thing. Like hypothetically, like one of the things that never makes sense to me in RPGs, and I know this is going to be a little bit of a controversial statement, but like hypothetically, let's say your Pokemon gets to a certain level. It's like your Pokemon has just learned Razor Leaf, and I'm like, how? How did it learn Razor Leaf? Like it has to get to a specific level, and then it learns it, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me in my head. It didn't make sense in Xenoverse when I had to do 12 missions to get one super attack, which I never ended up getting. It doesn't make sense in Shinobi Strikers when you have to learn under these people and you just magically learn these attacks. So, follow me on this one. Let's say I have my Marsh Stomp with me, and I'm trying to teach it Hydro Pump.
Okay.
Maybe I see somebody, like another trainer, using Hydro Pump, and I pull my Marsh Stomp inside. I'm like, okay, Hydro Pump. Like maybe an actual training process as to like getting, like if it practices with Water Gun enough and gets really good at it, maybe that could be a catalyst for learning Hydro Pump. Something along those lines. Obviously not every...
So basically like a move, basically like a level tree in terms of like moves.
But the thing is, I'm not even sure what I'd call it. That's the worst part about it. Because it just seems kind of weird that all of a sudden it's like you get to level 20, you learn this move, even though none of the moves in your moveset have anything to do with that move. But that's just me. Like, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know necessarily how I would pull this off. But to me, just simply leveling up and getting the moves just it didn't fit well with me as a kid, and it still doesn't fit well with me. But admittedly, that's a complicated process.
I feel like, yes, it would be good to basically kind of like how you said, you have the Water Gun. And then let's say it gets to level 20. Okay, Water Gun now does +5 damage. And it just, the move itself continues to get stronger until eventually it evolves into, instead of Water Gun, he now knows Hydro Pump or Bubble Beam or whatever.
But I don't think it should be for every single move or even every single Pokemon. I feel like just a handful of moves that if you want to level up the regular way, that's fine. But maybe, like hypothetically, maybe you have your Pokemon and you set up a couple of cans. It's like, okay, I want you to work on your accuracy with this move. Shoot those cans down. And depending on how well it does, its accuracy could improve. Or
speaking of, I need somebody to explain how Insolion already knows with Snipe Shot, how it already knows how to just sit here and go, ooh, perfect shot, pow. And it's just like, how you already got this kind of accuracy? You just learned that move 30 seconds ago.
I have no idea. It's the weirdest thing.
Tell me something. Explain. I need Game Freak to explain that. How do you already have this level of accuracy when you haven't even done this move more than maybe 3 times in your entire existence?
Yeah, and that's another thing. In terms of training, I want my Pokemon to be able to train together. Like, let's say I have my Toxtricity and I have my Corviknight. Maybe I'm just like, okay, you two, I want you two to battle against each other. Corviknight, work on your accuracy. Toxtricity, work on your defense. Maybe certain ways your Pokemon can battle together against each other, because I don't know, just finding random people on the sidelines who don't have Pokemon that are nearly as strong enough just isn't cutting it anymore for me.
Yeah.
And kind of going off. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking back. I wish there had been more interactions with the what was it called? It was the island system thing in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, where you had you had the berry or the bean island, the island where you could train, an island where you could do something else with Pokemon, and then one where they searched for treasure for you. But it's like, I wish the training island, that way you could work on you could have your team with you, but then you could still work on other Pokemon outside them, having them do different things.
Yeah, like hypothetically, Corviknight is part fly inks, and let's say I have a fire Pokemon with me. Fire is strong against steel. Fire strong against steel. Maybe if those two train together, Corviknight gets stronger in terms of defense. It's against fire Pokemon. Maybe something like that. I know that's a little complicated and a little bit out there, but just something along those lines in terms of battle mechanics and stats and stuff like that.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that's something else I'm going to say that I would like, is that say I have my Cinderace, and fire is weak to water. Of course. But say I trade it, and I trade it to such a way that it gains a resistance to water type move. Don't get me wrong, it's still going to be super effective. It's still going to do more damage than a regular move, but it gets a little bit more resistance to it, so that way I'm not getting one shot by a freaking level 45 Gyarados that knows Water Gun or something. Like give it a little bit more resistance, so that way it can build complexity into matches. So instead of just super effective move, heal my Pokemon, done. It actually gains. You have to go into it a little bit more strategically.
Yeah, exactly. Because one of the things, in my opinion, that Pokemon needs is uniqueness for everybody. Because if I play, like for example, if we play Grand Theft Auto Online or something like that, there are multiple instances where we have different stories of how this happened, what we did this, how hard did we throw our controller out the window, that sort of thing. But when it comes to Pokemon, and somebody tells me, "Oh, I found this area where you can," I'd be like, "Found it." Well, about this, found it. Like I feel like, and I hate to be the person who says Breath of the Wild, but there are times when people tell me about Breath of the Wild where people have different stories as to how they overcame certain things, certain items they found, certain people they talked to. Mm-hmm. Where Pokemon they've done a better job of being less linear, but there's still a feeling of, it's kind of telling you exactly where you're supposed to go. Like, you can't go here yet, can't go there yet, can't, like what sense in kayfabe, what sense does it, what's stopping you from experiencing the entire wild area if you don't have all the badges?
Exactly. I mean, granted, you got the Pokemon that are like level 60. When you go into that grass, you ain't got nothing but a level 15 starter.
And that's perfect. That was a really good job. But it's still a case of it's blocking you off from doing certain stuff, and that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, one thing I found a little bit annoying with this playthrough was this was the chance that they had that you should have been able to face the gyms in any order you wanted, because you pretty much could have, besides the fact that there was that one guy blocking away, you could have accessed all the areas from the start.
We should be able to beat him up. Not beat up his team with Pokemon, just actually fight that guy.
They think they're bulletproof.
Put your hair up and square up.
But I'm just thinking, like, why do I have to face the grass gym first in this game? The first town I come to has the fire gym, which is open. They even say it's open. And I started with Inteleon. Why can't I go in there? Or I guess at that point it was a Sobble. Yeah. Go in there and face with my water starter. Start there. Oh, I've caught a fire type. I can go here now and beat the grass gym. Now I need to figure out what I'm going to do to beat the water gym.
Yeah,
the grass gym was a weakling. That's why.
Yeah,
even when you face him post game, he's still weak.
Yeah, but apparently, I don't know if you guys know this, but in terms of the DLC with the Isle of Armor, the
Yeah.
Pokemon in the wild area pretty much scale at least with your Pokemon. So if you've beaten the game, they're going to be around level 60 or something. But supposedly, if you just started, they should be the level should be incredibly low.
That is interesting.
So if they're able to do that now, I feel like that's kind of the thing they had to test it with and see the reaction. And now they pretty much have no excuse to be like, okay, the next generation, you can go in any gym order you want, basically.
And they can scale. That would be fantastic. But I want to kind of go back a little bit.
Sure.
Not too far. It's just something you just recently said. It was about the making the game unique to each person. One thing personally that I would like, and of course I'm always going to be the guy that's like, I want to be a trainer. I want to be that guy that like defeats the world. Like I want to face everybody. Make a Pokemon game where you get the option to do different things. Where you can decide if you want to be the professor's assistant, where you can decide if you want to be like Nurse Joy and work in a Pokemon center. You could be like Officer Jenny and be a officer, or like if you want to be a ranger or a chef or whatever. Like, let us have these different career paths, I guess you could call it. And it's like you started the amateur, you work your way up throughout the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if, okay, say you have to do the training option, you have to be the trainer to beat the story itself, at least give us the option, like once you beat the game, let me go do something else. Let me go be a professor. Let me go be a breeder. Let me go be somebody who trains other people's Pokemon for them.
Exactly.
Give us that option so that way we can do other things instead of just saying, oh, I beat the game, and now I'm just kind of walking around training up.
Yeah, because for me, I'd probably be a breeder. I'd probably be good with like taking care of actual Pokemon, and because it shows that your friendship goes up and stuff like that if you give them curry and stuff like that. But I feel like breeders in particular, once they get good enough, should be able to make curry and medicines and other types of food like we talked about, but like they have better skill effects as to somebody who just has never decided to be a breeder in their life. Because let me ask you a question. If you were a Pokemon, who would you rather take homemade food from? Brock, a talented breeder, or Ash, who is Ash?
I'd go with the talented breeder.
Yeah.
At this point, yes.
And I guess also to evolve onto that whole thing that my whole little tirade there. If you're gonna go with the trainer route, sure, cool. After you've beaten the game, after you've beaten the champion, give us the option. Remain champion. Stay in the champion league. Every 3 or 4 days, you actually get a challenge. Or if they do it like they did in Pokemon Sword and Shield, where they have seasons, and every season they have people who go through the challenge, and then you do the tournament to face the champion at the end. Let us have more of that. Let it be more frequent. Don't let it be something that I have to just initiate every time. Let it be something that is like, okay, you as the champion have to defend your champion title against these other people because, oh, now that you've beaten the champion one time in the story, now everybody's just going to call you the champion. Like, no, let me get beat for my champion position and let me have to go back through it. Like,
I was about to say, especially considering to where if you lose to somebody, if you lose to a random person on the street, it's just like, oh, you're still the champion. Like then again, you could say, "Oh, that was a non-title match. You have to go through the tournament. Yeah, you have to beat me for my world title." Oh, I'm the champ.
I think that would give us a little bit more. That would give us more complexity to the game itself.
Right.
Let me have the option after I've won the championship. Maybe I give the championship up to my rival. Maybe I let him be the champion and I just go be one of the Elite Four, or I go be a gym leader. I would personally love to be a gym leader and actually have it where, okay, you get to choose what type you want to be, and now you have these set of rules that you have to face as the gym leader.
Or you could set up your own rules as the gym leader.
Actually, that in and of itself is what I want. Let me have a game where after it's over, I can be a gym leader. I can design the gym. I can design how they get to the leader. I can design what type. Like, that would be so much fun
I'm
to
glad
be able to do that.
I'm glad you're talking about custom. Sorry, Williamson, go ahead.
Well, that's something I've been thinking. When you become the champion, you're almost, I mean, by that point, within 2 or 3 times of doing whatever the Elite Four or the final set of challenges are, your Pokemon are level 100, but you're facing, when you face the champion or the former champion or whatever, his highest Pokemon are usually 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
So why not, if you want to be the champion where you have to continuously defend the title, you have to go in and beat his best team, which is nothing but level 100 Pokemon. They're maxed out level stats. They could even be like perfect IVs. Like these are
That would be
competitively
so
viable
much fun.
Pokemon.
No,
And you
you know how fun that would be? Because at that point, what you're doing, you're taking what people do online and you're actually putting it in game, and you're making it so that way the in-game product, you are forcing your people to learn more about Pokemon. You are forcing them, because they introduced these IVs and stats and everything, and you have these literal 2 groups of people, some who have absolutely no care in the world to think about doing anything with the stats, with nature, none of it. They don't care. And then you have these people who are like hyper involved, who like, I only get jolly nature. I only have these IVs. If they don't have this stat when they come out, I scrap it and I breed for another one. And it's like, bringing it into the game like that would almost bring in this like merger of the two, to where it's like, yeah, you can still not care, but you actually have to look into it a little bit more if you want to be able to further progress through the game.
Yes, and for the case of like me in particular, who doesn't necessarily like playing online, it could be a case of, oh, well, once you're champion, you can turn off challengers for now. You can just relax, do your own thing at your own pace, and then once you feel like you're ready, then go nuts.
And that would be even cooler. Like,
yeah, because you get the choice. So people who because they always say they like to make Pokemon viable for everyone, and not everyone likes playing online, contrary to popular belief. So it could just be a case where it's like, I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it so much.
The thing is, it's not like I don't like it. It's just that everybody seemingly online has gotten so, which is what I was just saying, like hyper into like, I have to have this type of IV. I have to have this nature. I have to have this specific item to give to my third Kling Clang on my team. And it's just like, why can't you just play with a freaking Charmander and fight my Ivysaur and just let me freaking leech seed you?
Yeah.
And then just be happy. Like,
true. But because so if for the perfect Pokemon game we have to address this. What would you want battles to be like? Would you want to continue the turn-based combat thing, or do you want something different?
I'm not. Who waits for turn? I'm not waiting for turn. I'm playing to win.
Oh.
Canopy fainted.
I didn't even let it out of its ball yet. I'm like, yeah, well, you should have been better. Go home, come back and challenge me when you don't suck.
Honestly, as much as I could say I would like a Pokken, like kind of like how they do in Pokken, where it's like it is not turn-based, it's whoever KOs first. But at the same time, I'm like, that would end up having it would take a certain level of structure in order to be able to change it from a turn-based battling system.
Yeah, I think that might alienate too much.
Yeah, because not a lot of people like fighting games. I'm not saying I don't like fighting games. I'm just saying I just need a break. Like every single anime game right now is either a Street Fighter clone or a 3D fighter clone, or something along those lines. Which is why I really don't want that for the next Naruto game. But I think that's what we're getting. But regardless, honestly, I don't know how much of an answer this is, and I'm not sure how completely comfortable I am saying this. But the Wii games, the Wii Pokemon games had this thing called Pokepark, and the battle system was incredibly simple. Like you press 1, it did like Thunderbolts or something. You press 2, it was something else. If you shook it, it was Iron Tail, something along those lines. And I remember thinking, if they complicate this a lot more, and just have you assign certain buttons and stuff like that, it could potentially work because it's a little more open, maybe some more destructible environments.
Right.
Like for example, if you use Thunderbolt and it hits a tree, that tree should be impacted. It shouldn't just stand there like nothing happened.
Right, like the tree would catch on fire or something.
Or it would, or hypothetically, maybe if you're battling on ice and the ice is slippery, maybe if you put a hole in the ice, it could open a crater and like water could come out, and maybe your Pokemon could swim underneath it. Obviously, some Pokemon would be able to swim better than others, but just that sort of thing.
That would be
That
cool.
I'm almost thinking back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 where they had random effect cards come into play based on where you were dueling. But imagine, so you're on your Lapras or your bike or whatever it is, and you're attacked by a Sharpedo now that they chase you. Well, if I send out my fire Pokemon, it should be at a major disadvantage. Like, water moves should do a lot more damage.
It's gonna drown.
Like, if it gets hit and like add knockback effects. So, it fell in the water. It's now passed out. It automatically faints if it gets hit by a physical move.
Yeah,
or something.
faints. Let's not have Pokemon. Let's not have death in this game. This
Well,
is
you know
still
what?
for
No,
kids.
no, they have an entire freaking town where there's an entire building that is a Pokemon graveyard. Don't tell me that Pokemon can't die.
Oh, I'm not saying they can't. Well, technically, it's implied that Pokemon, they get born, like they believe in reincarnation. Once you die, you either become a Ghastly or become a different Pokemon and just start the process all over again. But that's not the point. The point is they don't generally have Pokemon dying in the actual game. Like those Pokemon were long gone.
That would be cool. I'm not saying,
unless you're blue and Eradicate.
I was about to say, give us. I don't even want to say it.
See, you don't want it anymore. You don't want it anymore.
Dang, man.
But in all seriousness, though, like maybe I have a flying Pokemon. It shouldn't just stay on the ground or stay in the same position flying. Maybe it flies around for a vantage point, giving it more of an advantage over solitary ground Pokemon. Because I remember in the Battle Frontier season, and it was Ash versus, I want to say his name was Tucker, and he had Arcanine and Best Starter Swampert. So, Ash thought to himself, "Oh, what's that? No, never mind. I'm not. We're gonna talk about that later." Anyways, when he said to himself, "Well, Corphish is really strong. It's a water type, so water types will be strong against fire. So I'll use Corphish against Arcanine." And I thought to myself as a kid, "Oh, so he's gonna use Sceptile against Swampert because he can't use Pikachu because electric attacks don't work on ground types." At least I hoped he had that much knowledge. You never know with Ash anymore. But instead he said, if I use Swellow against Swampert, I can have so many different aerial attacks and vantage points to attack from him. And as a kid, I didn't get that. But now that I'm older, I'm like, actually, that's not a terrible idea. Yeah, like
not
maybe
terrible. I mean, he's unless my memory fails me, he still got smacked in that match. But
he ended up winning, but it's against the best starter ever, so it's always going to be difficult.
Either way,
although I guess that is something we should talk about, starters, because I said before in the last video, don't fact check. Seriously, that video is straight cheeks, as I've said before. Or like we talked because if they were to make this ultimate amazing game, I wouldn't want them to say, "Hey, we're going to start with Kanto," and then I'd be like, "No, please no. Do not make us start with Kanto again. Do not make us start with Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle all over again." And I would preferably, I'd like it to be kind of a mystery dungeon thing where you have a wide variety of starters, not just the original. Maybe you want to start with the Skitty. Maybe you want to start with the Meowth. Maybe, heck, but don't make those the exclusive ones. Like, if somebody wants to start with Mudkip, then let them. If somebody wants to start with Totodile,
that's me.
Yeah, Totodile there. If somebody wants to start off with
a Riolu,
there we go. With a Riolu, then let them do it.
Listen, all I'm saying is y'all not gonna sleep on my level 100 shiny Lucario that knows Focus Palm. All right.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, I wouldn't want this to be a scenario where you're just stuck with, like, because I love Game Freak, Pokemon. They do a lot of things really well, but treating every generation like it's equal is not one of them. My poor Gen 2 friends have nothing for no Mega Evolutions, no Gigantamax, no nothing for their starters. Like, seriously.
Honestly, I'm glad you said that because it kind of goes into the second thing that I was saying that I like. Big thing for the game. I would really, really, really love it if once they decided, okay, we're going to go into our very last Pokemon main series game, generation game.
In like 70 to 80 years.
Yeah, but let us choose, okay, what region will you start in? What Pokemon does your mother have that unbeknownst to you, will be passed to you? So, like, say if you wanted to start with, Mudkip, Riolu, Cinderace, any of them, or well, none of them starting. But like, say you say whatever Pokemon your mom has, she passes that to you. That's how you start your journey, and you get to travel. So you travel, you beat everybody in whatever region you start. So you start in the Unova region. After you beat the Unova region, you say, okay, that was fun. I've had all the fun I could have here. I'm going to go to a different region now. You go to the Sinnoh region. Oh, cool. This is so much fun. I'm playing in the Sinnoh region. There's no bad guys here because they got defeated 30 years ago. But I'm still having a good time, and I'm getting all the badges and all of it. Then you go to the Kanto, Johto, and you evolve. You go to each of these different gens, and you bring parts of whatever region you've been to beforehand with you. And just like Williamson said, there's no set which ones you have to go to. You can go to any of them at any point in time, and you're not even locked in once you stay there. You don't have to just stay there once you decide, oh, I went to the Sinnoh region this week. I have to stay there until I beat all of the gyms and the champion. No, you can leave and go to the Kanto region if you wanted to, just to switch things up, because you know that the Kanto region has Pokemon that you don't have yet, and you want to go over there.
Or they're just easier to find at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, Pikachus are easier to find. I'm going to go to this region that has Pikachus and surplus.
And the second I get my Pikachu, I am out.
Exactly.
Well, and something that they could implement if they have all these different regions is something I noticed with the new season, the Pokemon Journeys season.
Yeah.
They've been traveling around to different regions they've already done 2 different tournaments that have happened in the series. Sorry, spoiler alert.
Oh no, it's not because of a spoiler. It just makes the series. We're gonna talk about the series, you and me. We're gonna do another video for this.
There's another video coming later.
I gotta go back and rewatch. And also, sorry if I duck out. My turtle is being weird.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Anyways, continue.
But
Continue, Williamson.
You can have these different tournaments for different prizes. Like, don't just imagine it's not a Pokemon League tournament, but it's the Pokemon Flute tournament, like the one, spoiler, in the anime that you get to go to. You face against random trainers. It randomly generates teams for these trainers, and you can win a set of the flutes that is made from Gen 3.
Or like in Diamond and Pearl, like with what's her face, Dawn, Dane, whatever the hell her name is she won that tournament and she got an egg, and it ended up being a Cyndaquil. Maybe eggs of different rare Pokemon. But I wouldn't want it to be in the case of you have to progress through this tournament. If you don't want to do it, it's fine. But if you lose, then you miss out on that chance. Then a random NPC gets it. Random NPC Hugh Neutron gets it.
Also, one thing, kind of like what, the whole leveling, making sure that they, like they did with the DLC, is making sure that the level is kind of close to whatever level you're at. Have our characters that you're fighting in the story be smarter. I can't say nothing about the ones that are gym leaders, they have their set Pokemon or whatever. But, like, you faced off against your rival, who knows what Pokemon that you have after the first like 3 battles. They know what Pokemon you have. Let them build their team based around what they know about you. Don't just let them have a set team. Like, yes, they have their starter, but let them get different Pokemon based on whatever Pokemon that you have.
Yes,
Say
and
you
like,
ran an off.
yeah, like hypothetically, if you choose not to change up your team that much, that's a disadvantage because they've prepared for your team just in case.
Exactly. So, because as the trainer, you prepare for whatever gym leader you're about to go face. You know that if it's a grass leader, you're going to get Pokemon that if they aren't types that are strong to them, they at least know moves that are strong to grass type. So give us a trainer or trainers that are smart like that. They know, they've seen your battle, especially like in Sword and Shield. All of your battles were televised, well, almost all of them.
Yeah.
Most of your battles were televised.
Well, we're gonna give him a minute. We're gonna give him a minute.
There we go. They're televised. You let people see it, and it's just like, oh, I just saw you battle that gym leader. How about you battle me? I know what Pokemon you just.
And I'm gonna say, hell no. Get a ticket. You have to.
You know what? That's something even better. Let us actually have that. Like, yes, there are like Pokemon people that you have to battle for the story, but let us have people that are in the story that you can choose not to battle. And yes, it might affect the story, but it doesn't always. Like, let us have like a random person in the wild that's just like, I just saw you, even though you didn't look me in my eyes. I saw you.
Yeah,
so
that always bothered me. It's just like,
then it's just like, no, screw you. I didn't see you. Forget you. I got something to do.
How many gym badges you got? Gym badges? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Exactly.
That's what I thought. Goose egg, cheeks, nothing.
Exactly. Like, you ain't got no gym, you ain't got no badges. You can't say nothing to me. Get out my face before I kick your doggone counterfeit.
Tell you what. If you go onto the Cameo app and buy a cameo from me, then I'll battle you. We'll see.
You know what?
Only my OnlyFans can battle me.
God.
Oh my God.
He broke himself.
I apologize for that.
Oh
no,
my
but
God.
In terms of battles, though, that is something I kind of want to address on. Like, to me, it seems a little weird how you could have a full team of 6 and some random person on the street has 2. It seems kind of weird that if you lose 2 of your Pokemon, you can just keep going and going and going. No. For me personally, I would like in terms of battles, change it up in the sense of, oh, this will be 1 Pokemon apiece. This will be 2 Pokemon apiece, however many. And if you lose, you don't have to scurry to the Pokemon Center. That Pokemon's just fainted, and you just walk around and go about your business. You don't have to rush all the way to the last Pokemon Center you use, which could be 3 or 4 towns away. It's just, oh, you're one stubborn. It's just like, oh, my one, hypothetically, oh, my Toxtricity fainted because I lost to this one trainer with 1 Pokemon. I shouldn't have to send out 5 different Pokemon just to beat them. It should just be set in the state of, you know what? It was 1-on-1, it was 2-on-2, whatever. The battle's over. Let's move on.
And on top of that, give us more NPCs that have full teams. Like, that would be great. I would actually like to go and be in a random area, and then I see an NPC that's been there as far as we know the entire time we've been on our journey. So why don't you have 6 Pokemon? You've been out here longer than I've been alive. Why don't you have 6 Pokemon?
Also,
I have 87 in my Pokebox right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, I was about to say, also, it seems kind of weird that your Pokemon could be on the verge of being about to collapse, and they're like, let's battle, let's go. I'm like, really? You're going to kick me while I'm down? I mean, I respect that. You got to do what you got to do, but it just seems weird that all these trainers are just so... They're just so heelish that they just have to be like, nah, let's battle right now. Oh, what's that? Your Pokemon's about to die? I don't care. I'm
going to make sure I put him in the hole.
It's like, oh, keep talking. You'll be next. Also, customize because we've talked about customization. I love the options that Sword and Shield have given us, but to me, it shouldn't make me as mad as it does, but it does. It really ticks me off that you have to play as a girl to get more customizable options. Like, there's no reason for that. Hey, you're telling me that you put like 30-something different hairstyles for girls, but boys get like maybe 10, 11? Seriously?
Right.
That's with the DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, it just bothers me because not everybody wants to play as a girl. That's not a problem. But you shouldn't handicap the boys players in terms of what their hair is like, what their clothes are like, just that sort of thing. It's just it bothers me.
Right. It took us umpteenth years to be able to get a black character in the game, or even characters with different skin tones. And now we need to work on the hairstyles too.
Yeah, let me have an afro with a pick in it, or a pompadour, something like that.
An afro with a pick, bro.
Yes.
You already know. So many people would be happy with that, including myself. Could you see I'm working on my fro? It's kind of bad right now. But like, if I had one of those big behind fros and just have the freaking pick in the back, I would be that Pokemon trainer. That would be my theme. And I was like the guy with the freaking afro, looking like freaking Black Dynamite walking through here, just like, hey, yeah, all right. Like, I would be that guy. Like, I would love that so much. And just
also more clothing options, because it's basic jacket, shirt, pant. It's like give me an overcoat. Like, my character I've been told my character in Sword and Shield basically looks like a Chunibyo. He basically looks like he has 8th grade syndrome. Let me capitalize on it. Let me get a mask, a long ass coat. Let me pose JoJo wise. Let me become my inner Chunibyo.
Well, you kind of got the pose part now with the card customization thing. You could at least make a pose of your character.
Which is weird, because when you try posing in the overworld, all you can do is the Leon pose. I'm like, no, let add customizable poses. Like, if I have 4 other friends with me, let us find a way to do the Ginyu Force pose.
I want to be able to do the Great Saiyaman pose. That would be what I would do in the freaking, like, after every battle, I would just be like, you just got pwned, boy.
I thought you were gonna say dabbing, and I was gonna disconnect you. Don't do it. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't. No, you're better than this.
Please
also,
don't disconnect me.
I'm tempted to, but also I want to address this. I felt like Sword and Shield had good rivals. That's not a controversial statement, is it?
No. Honestly, I feel like he was one of the best. Well, your rival, I should say.
Yeah, your main rival with the ever so lovely name Hop.
I feel like, yes, they were, like, because from the jump, you had clear character motivation. It wasn't just about being better than you. It was, I want to follow my brother's footsteps. I want to be who he is. And then throughout the game, you get clear character development from your rival.
Yeah, especially with every loss he has. Every time you beat him, he changes in a sense.
Right. And one thing that I really do appreciate, like I said, which is part of why I want to have a game where that lets you do different things other than what the main story is because of Sword and Shield, where after everything is said and done, Hop was like, all right, well, this has been fun, but I don't think being a Pokemon trainer is for me. I think I want to be a professor. I think I want to learn to be a professor. That seemed like a fun idea.
And considering he gets to work with Sonia, I guess he's the real winner at the end. That bastard. He's like, oh no, I lost. Hey, I what's that, Sonia? I can be your assistant. Hell yeah.
Right.
You bastard.
Right, like old dude was just like, dang, bro, that's terrible. Hey man, you have fun as the champion. I'm finna go, what's that, Sonia? Yeah, I can pick up some food on the way back to the lab. All right, I got you.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if at a certain point your rivals can change throughout the game. So like Hop, he becomes a Pokemon researcher. So now why doesn't one of the gym leaders become your rival? Kind of like how Leon had Raihan was his name, I think.
Yeah,
Was his rival.
Or if one of your rivals becomes a Pokemon like a Pokemon professor, they give you certain hints and stuff like that. Like for example, well, I always remember in certain Pokemon games when you could, like for example, if you picked Sharpedo to surf on, it would show an actual animation and it would be super fast or something along those lines. Maybe he gives you advice. Like for example, I know this that in one Pokedex entry it says that Swampert is as fast as a jet ski. Maybe at some point he contacts you and says, "Hey, that Swampert you have, you know it's super fast, right? You should probably get on top of it if you want to be like super fast or something like that." Or just extra, or like hypothetically, he'll say something like, "Hey man, I know you have a Seviper. That's really cool and all, but don't catch a Zangoose too, because yeah, they're not going to get along."
They'll kill each other.
Well, I just thought of this. Do y'all remember, did we get any calls, like any actual calls in Pokemon Sword and Shield, like where the phone rings?
I mean, story-wise, yes. I mean, I remember in the post-game they did, like people would call you a couple of times when you did the post-game story, but not much else.
I was about to say, like,
it really seems like
game, I don't think so.
Yeah, it seems like that should have been a feature, especially because the Pokedex this time was a smartphone. Why can't I call my rival? Why can't I call my mom, the professor?
Yeah, why can't I call Bayday and say, "Hey man, you being a fairy gym leader? Yeah, well, remember all those times you've never beaten me. Just remember that."
Don't be that guy. It's true though. I honestly, Bebe was a better rival in terms of why he wanted to be the best, but at the same time, he was the most annoying because it seemed like everything you did, he was just there to be like, "Okay, yeah, but I'm still gonna be better than you." So
no, I've sent you some New Japan matches, Jogger Joe. I'm gonna be honest, I would treat Bayday kind of like how El Desperado treats Hiromu. Like I would just be like, "Oh, Bayday, don't say that. I mean, I just love you so much, man. Why can't we be friends?" He's just like, "You sicken me. You
sicken me, and everything about your existence makes me infuriatingly angry."
But getting back to Hop, to me, that really proves it. Like friendly rivals can still be good rivals. It's not whether they're friendly or mean. It's what their motivation is, how they go about it.
Which is why I hated How.
Yes, because I give you crap about How, but in all seriousness, he didn't have enough character motivation besides kind of simply wanting to be the best and maybe having a thing for Lily that went largely unexplored. But it just didn't. I don't know.
And it's off subject, but like my biggest thing for How is literally the fact that he was just there. He served no purpose to the overarching story. If you take How out of the equation and it literally was just you and Lily, the entire story would for the main part be the exact same. Maybe a few battles would be different. You would maybe have to replace a few battles here and there. But in terms of like what you're doing, why you're battling, the main story, the freaking legendary, everything else was the same. And it bothered me. But then we get Hop, and the freaking story, I feel like the story couldn't have gone as well as it did if it wasn't for Hop.
Yeah, I felt like
because Hop is the reason you met the legendary in the first place. Hop is the reason you got your Pokemon. Hop is the reason, well, also because it's his older brother, but because it's the reason that the champion looks at both of y'all and is like, "I want to see both of y'all be great." Like, it's Hop.
Yeah.
He made a great rival.
Yes, Williamson. Sorry, what were you saying?
Well, I was thinking, Hop is definitely a good rival, and I've noticed that. I was thinking back on it, and what was it? I guess Gen 4, you had two rivals in Dawn and Barry.
Well, Barry was more of a rival. Dawn was more of just that. She was more of a friend.
Yeah, I guess you battled her like once, I think, and that's about it. But then you get Gen 6 where they have 4 different people that are both rivals and friends. And they're okay character-wise, but they're just so much weaker than you. Again, those games are so easy.
Yeah, it's one of those scenarios where, in terms of I'm just going to speak to playing as the male, Serena, Trevor, Shauna, and Tierno, all 4 of those characters were done much better in the anime than they were in the games. It's kind of weird. I was just saying, okay, maybe Serena will get some good stuff, but I doubt the other 3 are going to get anything to do with the anime series. But no, they're actually well thought out, dare I say, fun characters.
Yeah, but in the games, from what I remember, when you face them all in I think it's like one run where you face them all back to back to back.
Something like that. I don't know.
It's been so long since I finished one of those games. They're just so easy to beat because they each have you have a full team of 6 that are fully evolved, and you're pretty much at the level you're going to face the champion at. They're like 3-4 Pokemon each, and they're not that high level. It's like,
yeah, especially considering their motivation. Like Trevor wants to complete the Pokedex. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Serena wants to be champion instead of you. Okay, that's once again that's not bad. Tierno wants dancing Pokemon. How is he a rival? How am I going to combat that? There aren't that many Pokemon that run around dancing. It's just, and Shauna's, which was,
I want to catch cute Pokemon. I think that's literature.
My Pokemon must be cute.
Yeah, but I guess in a way, like their motivations weren't that well brought out. But we're also forgetting one more rival in Sword and Shield that if this was live, people would be flaming us right now because we seem to have forgotten everybody's favorite rival in Sword and Shield. Marnie.
Yeah. I couldn't remember her name, but I remembered who you were talking about.
Yeah. I don't want to say goth because she's not really goth, but her. I thoroughly enjoy that they decide to keep 3 rivals. One who's super antagonistic, one who's your best friend, and one who's kind of in the middle, kind of tsundere-ish.
I don't necessarily want you to not be great and accomplished, but I don't want you to be more great and accomplished than me.
Exactly. Okay. And she talks to her Morpeko, and she's like, Morpeko, you actually like Foster? I'm like, yeah, I'm just as surprised as you are.
Huh.
But I would good variety in terms of your rivals is something that I feel like this game would have to have. They don't all, now granted, some should be easier than others. Some should be kind of difficult, while others you should really have to bust your butt for. But just that sort of thing.
Yeah. And speaking of Marty, this has now been 2 generations in a row where we haven't gotten an evil team, because the evil team in this one, Team Yell, which is supposed to be, was considered the bad guys at first.
Were they?
They're just.
Yeah, they're just cheering for their person. They're the stereotypical fans.
I don't have a fan club in this game.
It's just like, man, we're not really evil. We're just misguided in our love, okay?
But
like go most back to Pokemon fans.
But go back another generation. Team Skull wasn't a bad guy team. They were just having fun.
True, but Team Skull were basically a bunch of misfits. And that's kind of what made them pretty much so relatable and enjoyable, at least for me.
So that was one of the things I was disappointed was, so now the chairman's going to be the bad guy. Kind of like how in the Sun and Moon, it was the founder of the Pokemon, Aether Foundation. She's the bad guy in the first one. It's like...
And nobody was really that surprised.
I know, it's like, where's the evil team that is got this specific mission to do something? I'm missing that.
I'm gonna be honest. I was honestly really surprised when the head guy in Sword and Shield, I always forget his name. I was surprised when he actually ended up being just as bad as his assistant, because like I called it from the jump. I was like, okay, the assistant's the one that's kind of pulling all the string. She's gonna end up being like double crossing. All right, and then it was like, oh no, he's actually just as bad. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and she starts making this terrifying face at you. I'm like, okay, I can get into this. Not in that way, you pervs.
Hey man, whatever you say.
Pretty much what I wanted to get out of it was I've kind of liked them going off the norm, but I do miss them having an actual evil team that's trying to do something.
But
they have a goal.
And one thing I'd like, if they add back the evil team, give us the option to join them in the beginning, and then it turns into you get to be the villain. That would be great.
But
just saying.
In all seriousness, though, I don't want Pokemon's come a long way, but back then in the games, Team Rocket was evil, just really for the sake of being evil. That's not going to cut it nowadays. Like, you need at least a couple of members who are sympathetic. Maybe some of them leave Team Rocket like, nah, I ain't about this. This kid bodied me with his Eevee, so I'm gonna make, like, story-wise, some of them should be more on the good side. Because in the anime, Team Rocket's despicable, but Jesse, James, and Meowth are the ones that we all care about. Are the ones we all care about because of their backstories and their sadness and everything. We root for them against Cassidy and Botch.
No, that I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to be sure. Just wanted to be sure. Just wanted to be completely sure. So, in terms of, I feel like we've hit the nail on the head for a lot of this stuff. But overall, is there anything we haven't talked about that you guys want to get off your chest in terms of this?
Okay. Well, it really actually just kind of goes along with what you guys had already said. Give us another character like N that has just a connection with Pokemon that is unexplainable, and he sides with the villain simply because it's the closest that he can get to getting what he wants out of life, But at the same time, we need him to be freaking overpowered. I need an overpowered person who's going to just. I need an overpowered antagonist in the game that's gonna body me for 3/4 of the game. And that's another thing. I need losses in the Pokemon game to also help continue to evolve the story. Like, let us as the main protagonist take a loss or two to help further the story. Hey, this is why people feel so emboldened in the Pokemon world now, because they haven't taken a freaking loss since '94.
Yeah, so let me see if I get this straight. You want an unbeatable character, well, not unbeatable, but just a very powerful character with a team you have to bust your butt for.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in the wrestling video we did on your channel, you're like, I don't want another strong, unbeatable character. What's up with that?
Because it's different when you have a character that's like, oh, you just gotta hit buttons and then boom, there you go. It's different because with Pokemon, you actually can train the Pokemon. You actually can make them stronger. With the wrestling game, it's just, oh, this is already their set strength. This is their set move set. This is what they have. Go. But with Pokemon, it's like you actually can train. You can actually make a team that can beat the quote unquote unbeatable trainer.
Sounds like you're fickle.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so for my thing that we haven't covered completely, I'm sure if you go back to the videos that we made, I think it was when we were reviewing what were learning about Sword and Shield or something, I talked about my disappointment in having the whole Pokedex not be, well, specifically the Pokedex. I just had that issue, and I've gotten over it since then. I understand that they want to center more of it on the new Pokemon and have different ways of getting the old Pokemon, but
Okay, they need to chill out with the new Pokemon. I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, look, I can only remember so many from each generation. Okay, help me out here.
Anyways, go ahead.
But specifically, I think there are certain Pokemon that they would require them to be in there. The ones that are going to be someone's favorite regardless of whether they actually fit. All the starters, the Riolu, Eevee, I'm trying to think, Pikachu.
Just starters in general.
Starters, but other Pokemon that have a certain level of popularity should always be in the games.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm not too against that.
Yeah, I can understand that you don't need all the Pokemon back in every generation, but why are some of them? I mean, I'm trying to think. I could catch 100 Combi, but I can't catch or get my favorite Pokemon in Totodile in the game.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where we want specific Pokemon to be in the game, but at the same time, we're probably not going to go out and catch every single one of them. It's like that Mighty Keith video said. It's like you could only catch 400 Pokemon. They're like, well, to be fair, I'm probably only going to catch about 20 or 30 and call it a day. Let's be honest. But still, specifically have a way of having favorites into the game. Obviously, there are going to be some people that would be upset with that, but starters in particular should be in.
Yeah, I would say all starters, all pseudo-legendaries, and all kind of that next step down, the Arcanine, the Lucario line, the, what's it called? Flygon, those that aren't quite powerful enough to be pseudos, but are...
Wasn't Arcanine a pseudo?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't meet the requirements.
Wait, it's not even a pseudo? Seriously? Wow.
Really? When did Arcanine double?
Pseudos, you have to have the 3 evolutions to be considered. I don't know why, but they have to have 3 evolutions.
Huh. Well, that's disappointing.
But just better, like the Pokemon in the game, but just better Pokemon in the game, like more liked Pokemon.
Yeah, because there were some. It's like, why is this one here? Why can I catch? I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I mean, there's some popular ones I understand, but like, why? Oh, it's those piranha Pokemon. Why are they in the game? As far as I've heard, no one I've ever heard that's their favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's not Carvana, it's the other ones.
Basculin?
Yes.
Okay. I kind of like it, but I understand your point. I understand, like, because not every... And if you like Basculin, if you're in the... we don't need to be attacked by the Basculin fans. It's okay. If you like Basculin, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just
your prerogative, bro.
It's your prerogative. Just know, as the anime egotist, it doesn't matter what your stance on... We don't care about your political stuff. We just have to tell you that you're wrong. You're wrong for having anime opinions that are different from ours. We have our priorities in straight with this.
Exactly. Clearly, our priority the more straight than you guys are.
Yeah, obviously. But I guess my thing would be that we haven't really talked about is it feels kind of weird that you're just traveling all by yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be a sense of maybe you have 1 or 2 people by yourself. Obviously, if you want to travel by yourself, that's completely fine. You shouldn't have any repercussions for that. But maybe you have somebody who's a better breeder than you, who can show you the ropes of that sort of thing. Maybe you have somebody who's better with contests or whatever the hell you want to call them, that sort of thing.
Bring back Poke contests; those were fun.
Yeah, and if you're going to bring them back, do them like the anime. Have different combinations of moves you can combine with each other. Hypothetically, if my Swampert causes an earthquake or something like that, and he fills up the area with water, that should have a giant impact on the battle. Just combinations and stuff and just overall, just maybe the idea of people who can travel with you, maybe. Admittedly, I still don't know how I would go about, so I can't say a hardcore yes, do this, but just something along those lines.
Right.
Mhm. You're thinking of more of expanding it, not a turn-based RPG, but a regular RPG outside where you get companions. Your companions have different skills from you, and you use your companions to complete different tasks since you don't have the ability to get every skill.
Exactly, because you shouldn't have, because getting every skill should take some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like I said, like I always say, there's a very good chance that we're completely overthinking this, and it's just, oh yeah, you know that game, the anime Egotists guys were talking about? No, it's not that. It's just it's Gen 4 remakes. Who cares? And we're like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
We're okay with this.
And
we are okay.
Yeah, we're fine with this. Or it could just be, let's go.
Yeah.
My heart.
But at this point, they seem to be taking their time with these games in the sense of, instead of saying Sword and Shield 2 or Ultra Sword and Shield, they just say, you know what, we're just going to give you 2 DLC packs. If you want them, yeah, but until then, we're going to give you this, and we're going to keep working on whatever we're working on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But if we finally get the game we want, we can go out and we can celebrate.
Remake. Remake.
Oh, I meant like the actual game we've been discussing right now. But Sinnoh Remake 2, the actual game that we've all, which in hindsight doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because they wouldn't say we're going to do this game just like the anime you get to say. Hey, and I'd be like, but you just said the announcement was coming in a few days. Hey, shouldn't development time? We know.
Right. It's just like, but how did y'all get what we...
No. We know.
But how do y'all know? How did you get
They're Game Freak. They know everything.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and when we finally celebrate, and when we finally get the game we want, because I do think, in a sense, one day we will get the open-ish world Pokemon. And I've always said, in terms of open world, I'd be fine with how they're doing it now, or more like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And once we finally get that game, we can celebrate. Hey, and you know what I'll say that day when you guys say, what do you want to get to eat to celebrate? You know
what are you going to say?
Feels like an Arby's night.
This video has been brought to you by Arby's.
We are not
sponsor us, please. We need the money.
They're
going to take my toes.
Yeah, yes. Whoever makes Poffins, sponsor. We will help you out. Help us help you. But out of all the things we've talked about, what's the one thing that you would absolutely want? Like, we each get to pick one thing that's in this game. I always go last on these, and you guys are struggling. Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay, hey, more like I've talked before about Pokemon Camp and making other foods and poffins and medicines and stuff like that. I'm going to cheat. I'm picking 2. It's that and just the ability to catch Pokemon in different varieties. Like, maybe I set out some berries as a way to trap a Pokemon. And the second it pops out and starts eating them, I can throw a Pokeball and catch it. Something along those lines. Or maybe an injured Pokemon, and I feed it and I take care of it, and it joins my team with higher friendship stats than if I just randomly caught it. Just different ways of interacting with your Pokemon in terms of them battling each other, feeding interacting with wild Pokemon, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I think mine would be what we talked about earlier with the adaptive story, where there could be dialogue options that change how people view you. This could lead to other people, like, if you could be a complete jerk picking the worst options. I mean, it would never be anything bad, but it would be like your end line could always be smell you later, like Blue, and that way
later.
And throughout that means if you tell that to someone else, they become more of a rival and an antagonistic rival to you or something.
Yeah, and maybe if you have your own fan club, they start saying that to people. Like, it's like reports of several people. Well, thanks to Foster being the best trainer in the world, reports of several people telling other people to Tranquilo. Yep.
Tranquilo. For me,
I would have thought you would have said joining the villains team out of everything we've talked about.
I think that actually really is my like one.
You really just want to be a jerk in the Pokemon universe. What have they done to
I want
you?
to be able. I honestly, genuinely want to be able to run up on a freaking bug catcher with a level 80 Butterfree and be like, "Oh, that's a nice Butterfree you got, kid. It's mine now." And just walk and just ride off with the freaking Butterfree and just like
you get on your city bike, yeah.
Exactly. Freaking go to Millie and take her milk tank. Be like, hey, that's a strong ass milk tank you got. Guess what? It's mine.
It's mine now.
And then just burn the gym down and just
okay.
off.
I don't think we can get that.
Oh yeah, I'm going that far. Let me burn the gym down and just be like, my milk tank now.
I'm starting to wonder why they don't use our ideas.
Because they know it's too good.
I wouldn't say that, but sure.
They know it's too good.
But anyways.
GP. Grand Theft Pokemon.
Doggone right. See, Williamson gets it.
Hey, Rockstar and Game Freak teaming up to make a new Pokemon Grand Theft Auto style game.
You sicken me. Anyways, it's what's that? What's that, Jogger Joe? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. What's that? What's that? You said you want more customizable options for the male characters. Got it. I understand. Perfect. Got it. And you never want to join the evil team ever at all. Awesome. So overall, guys, I think we're at a good stopping point. Wait, tell us what you think. Do you think that any of our ideas are plausible? What do you think could be the game that we end up getting an announcement? Or maybe is it a game announcement in the slightest? Let us know what you think in the comments. And now let's get everybody to say their socials. Jogger Joe, tell everyone where you can find them.
Screw you. God, you can follow me at Jogger_Joe on Twitter, JOGGER_JOE. I have 2 YouTube channels, What the Wrestling and Jogger Joe, the same name. Neither of them have consistent uploads, but they upload when they upload. You like it or you don't follow.
And sometimes I'm on there.
Exactly. Sometimes sponsored on there.
All right, Williamson, let the people know where they can follow you at.
Here, that's about it.
You have a YouTube channel you can plug right now.
Yeah, with no videos on it.
You have 2 videos on there. You're a liar. You're a damn liar.
Remind me to make those private next time.
I will never. I will download. Maybe once we get to 100 subscribers, we'll watch Williamson's YouTube channel.
That would be.
We'll have a watch party.
No.
We'll have a watch party.
That would be interesting AF.
As usual, though, you can follow me at RafiBomb316 on the Twitter, at Flexin without the G personally on Instagram. You cannot follow my fanfic account because those are the cinnamon rolls I have to protect, and y'all know what you got to do. Like we love y'all, we do, but some of y'all are scary, and we can't expose you to that other side of things. But as always, like, comment, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Jogger Joe if the channel is still around by the time I delete it once this video is over.
Wow.
And
first you mute me, then you try to delete my stuff. That's terrible.
And deleted. Okay.
You're rude.
Anyways, but boys, it's been fun. This video is so much better with 3 people as opposed to 5. Let's keep this up. And join us for our next Pokemon related video where Williamson and I will be going over our thoughts on the new Pokemon series, these Pokemon Journeys. Should be an interesting one. Should be an interesting one.
Always.
But as always, I'm Foster.
And I'm Williamson.
Jogger Joe.
And this has been the Anime Egotists with the Bias Roundtable. Full for Pokemon announcements, the best Pokemon game ever, terrible hairstyles in Naruto, whatever you took away from this video. And as always, with the Anime Egotists, if you disagree, you're wrong. And Black Lives Matter.
You're watching Anime Egotists! And actually, I'm a better trainer than Brendan. Oh, come on, May. A little humility?